Hello again. Welcome to the third part of the history of the JCD. In the previous episode, we discussed the golden era of the JCD. I recommend you watch the first part and second part before this one, as you'll get a better understanding of what is going on.
Part 3, The Fall.
The golden era of the JCD allowed for the empire to grow in wealth and influence. Everyone was happy and at peace. The constant technological advancements had increased the production rates of goods and jobs became more specialized. Everything was going fine until Gerard Nash, the fourth ruler of the JCD, enforced a rule that would have dangerous consequences. Gerard Nash grew up as a wealthy child during the golden age of JCD. He gained power after the previous leader died. At age 25 he was in charge of the world's most powerful empire. He was known for his zero-tolerance policy for any who still sympathized with the image. Learning from what his predecessors had done, mainly the Daybreak Massacre. The Daybreak Massacre happened early on in the Golden Era in an attempt to stop any previous Image.0 rulers from gaining power again. Watching the previous episode will clear things up if you are confused. But as the newest ruler of the JCD, in a time where there was peace and prosperity, Gerard Nash knew something was afoot. He knew the Image.0's influence was coming back as a new form that was much more violent. To combat this, Gerard portioned out a piece of the empire that was most populated with still resentful Image.0ians. He also requested anyone who still supported Image.0 to head to the area. In hindsight, this was a bad plan. It created an opportunity for the Image.0ians and their supporters to raise an army. Silently the army grew as citizens were blackmailed into joining. People began to protest to go to war in the capital city. They wanted to crush the Image.0 and wipe them out like them should 50 years ago. Their pleas fell on deaf and unwilling ears. Gerard was too busy negotiating trade deals with foreign powers to recognize the insurgents happening in his own backyard. After about 6 months of planning, something finally happened. Image.0 had declared themselves as a sovereign nation, with their flag as shown here, and demanded that the JCD recognize them as such. The JCD were unwilling to allow such a thing, and they finally immobilized their army to stop them. The loyal supporters of Image.0 attacked and ravaged surrounding town and villages. One Drive, a prominent port city on the Umbrel River, was all but burnt to the ground. Truly a travesty for the JCD. The goal of the Image.0 was to not capture the JCD's territory but to more or less tie them into a peace treaty which would allow the Image.0 to be recognized as a sovereign nation. Things took a different turn when the Image.0's army commands and Suda leader died in battle just outside of Digress, an important farming town. The Image.0 were disgusted by this and turned to a different strategy. No longer did they want a peace treaty, they wanted complete conquest. Fueled by a burning memory of what they remembered from the past, the scars ran deep and the Image.0 would not give up. All of the JCD were gone. The JCD had to keep Digress out of the hands of Image.0. If Digress fell into the hands of the Image.0, it would allow them to split the JCD into two pieces, making conquest easier. Image.0 and the JCD were at a standstill. Split half and half, neither could gain any land. The capital was dangerously close to the hands of the Avidez army. One wrong move by the JCD and the empire would be gone. The JCD had lost everything: their wealth, their land, and most importantly the trust of the people.